Those beautiful girls must not have liked him because they knew he was up to no good. Sean Kingston and his mother found guilty of wire fraud. These two will be sentenced on July 11th and could face decades in prison. He apparently has been on house arrest until his sentencing. What a fall from grace. This is a dude who experienced immediate success in the music industry. Sean was discovered on YouTube, and not long after, in 2007, his song Beautiful Girls was released. The song peaked near the top of...
Nah, he definitely did have immediate success. Like, bro was popping before before I had consciousness. Like, isn't that crazy? Carl said they're gonna make him sing in that prison. Hell yeah, that nigga gonna be singing like fuck in jail.
For the Billboard charts, and it helped him land gigs with popular artists you may have heard. He was the opening act for Gwen Stefani's The Sweet Escape tour. He opened for Beyonce on a few shows.
Yeah, shout out Gwen Stefani too. I don't know what the fuck happened to her, but I used to love Gwen Stefani. Like,
in 2008, he opened for a few of Kelly Clarkson's shows. I was able to find many legal documents that cover his story of being a musician turned fraudster, and it was much worse than I initially thought. This is so embarrassing for a guy who at one point appeared ready for superstardom. He was
literally doing stuff with Justin Bieber. Like, you feel me? Like, he was white people famous.
Even featured on a song on Justin Bieber's album My World 2.0. Apparently, he recently helped write Chris Brown's song Sensational that won a Grammy. This fraud scheme...
Like, what? Like, bro, how greedy can you be for a dog? Like, just relax. Like, it's not that deep.
By Sean included his mom, which I think makes them the first contestants on our new game show called Family Fraud.
Niggas doing fraud with their mom.
Sean Kingston and his mother found guilty on all 5 federal charges against them. Janice Turner now in federal custody. Kingston was crying and telling agents to protect my mother. Right before last...
Nigga, no, fuck that. Like, you didn't protect the people that y'all scammed. Like, what the fuck?
Year's arrest, he was promoting her brand Mama Kingston sauce on Instagram. Turner was immediately taken into custody after the verdict, with the judge citing her past...
He probably feels bad, though. He's probably like, damn, like, you feel me? I done did this shit with my mom, got her in jail, you feel me? After I was supposed to be the one to save the family, like, but...
Criminal history and role in the scheme as key factors in his decision. He described her as the operator, fixer, and accountant behind the fraudulent activity. I didn't see the news stories last year during the arrest, so this was all new to me, but I looked far back to see if he had any previous scams, and here's what I found. In August 2011, Sean received a judgment in the amount of $37,932.85 from a complaint filed by Hymov Jewelers, Inc., doing business as Hymov Watches, Inc. Sean's address at the time was 12442 Grand Oaks Drive in Davie, Florida.
He owed about $40K on some jewelry. He probably just didn't pay it back. They probably were like, "Oh, this guy's famous, so he's gonna pay us back for sure." Yeah, that was their big mistake.
Using my favorite app, Batch Leads, I can see here that Sean Kingston Enterprise Inc. was in a contract for sale at this $1 million...
I'm weak. I'm sorry, but Spencer, like, niggas be saying pocket watchers. Spencer be like, he be buying shit to, like, track niggas. Like, that shit funny as fuck.
Property in 2008. I went to Fort Lauderdale's property records to search out a curiosity, and it appears that there wasn't an official sale, but a contract was recorded, so he might have never actually bought it after going under contract. Anyway, the point is, he was living in a $1 million house and clearly didn't pay a jeweler around $35,000 for what was probably the sale of a nice watch. I assume that because of his history of doing just this. A year later, Sean received a judgment in the amount of nearly $53,000 from a complaint filed by Catherine Arrighi. I wasn't able to find the complaint, but I find it fascinating how...
Yeah, so he probably thought, oh yeah, like, and you know too, when you reach that kind of level, like, people are gonna just start giving you shit, like, just because, you feel me? And they'll like trust you a lot more because you're famous, even though they don't know you. So he's probably taking full advantage of that.
Sean was collaborating with Justin Bieber at the same time he couldn't pay people what was owed. 2 years later, in August 2014, Sean was sued by Avi the Jeweler Inc., a New York corporation known for custom-made jewelry. Avi Davidov claims to have had a decade-long friendship with Sean. This close friendship allowed Sean to get more favorable pricing and extended credit terms. If you hear those words in a complaint, then you know the defendants massively took advantage of a friendship. From November 2000...
That's so messed up, bro.
Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way.
Bruh, I hear scamming his friends. Like, are you dead ass, bro? Are you dead ass?
2008 to September 2013, Avi the Jeweler sold and delivered jewelry to Kingston and all of his business.
He's scamming his friends. They said one of the jewelers was like his friends that he knew for like 10 years. And then because of that, bros giving him jewelry with like extended credit. Like, you know, basically giving him more time to pay it off, but he basically said, fuck that.
entities for which plaintiff has been refused or withheld to the plaintiff. The first invoice around November 19, 2008 was for $100,000 for 5 different expensive pieces of jewelry. Sean traded in a Breitling watch worth around
I'm like, bro, if you're already famous, why not just wear it fake or just get a fake one? Like, you feel me? I don't know. I think being rich and buying even more expensive jewelry is just kind of dumb. Like,
$15,000 in order to reduce the amount owed to just $85,000. Sean
mm,
still owes around $15,000 from this specific invoice, though. In April 2009, Sean was sold custom jewelry and had an invoiced amount of $150,000. If you ever wanted an
see, it's that custom jewelry. People be wanting to be different, you know?
example of why people go broke, buying $150,000 worth of custom jewelry is a great example. It's not the expensive jewelry that's the problem. It's the fact that it's custom with his specific initials on it, meaning you can only sell it for a fraction of the value many years later.
That's why you should have just bought it fake.
No part has been paid, leaving a balance of $150,000 from this invoice.
No part, bro. So he never paid even like a penny on it.
Sean needed $5,000 for the installation of diamonds on a piece of jewelry, which was never paid. In December 2012, Sean bought $63,000 worth of jewelry and still owes $43,000. In July 2013, Sean bought $159,000 worth of jewelry, which he returned not long after, except item number 6, a belly button chain. He still owes $1,200 for the belly button chain, which has to be the dumbest product I've ever heard of. Nothing says broke baller like having jewelry in your belly button that you can't even afford. He owes Avi $214,200.
Look at these days, 2009, 2008. Like, bruh's been doing this for a while, and they just now got picked up. You know, so it's crazy, bro.
Here's one of the sales orders for Sean in the amount of $325,000.
Basically, this nigga Sean Kingston has been tweaking, like going around here getting jewelry and shit from his friends and not paying it off. Now them niggas in jail, and this guy's just going over like the court documents and shit.
I noticed that the payment terms were for 2 days, which means this was actually him just borrowing the jewelry. What would you need that much jewelry for? He rented the jewelry for his appearance on the popular TV show 106 in Park. Wow, that
Whoa,
guy must
hold
be
up.
poor. He rented
106 in Park? Why do they spell it like that? 160? What is that? Nah, let me chill.
the jewelry for his appearance on the popular TV show 106 in Park. Wow, that guy
Damn, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, 106 in Park, like, that's how you know bruh's been scamming for a long time, bro. Like, a long ass time. I would dispute it because it's wrong. That shit, I probably dispute that shit too, bro. They lawyer can't type.
must be rich with all that flashy jewelry. If you didn't know, you can literally rent jewelry for a couple days for your photo shoots or TV appearances, and in Sean's case, not return it so you can appear wealthy. Here's one of the checks Sean wrote in the amount of $30,000 for jewelry bounced for insufficient funds. In August 2020, Avi received a judgment against Sean in the amount of $356,352.50. The lawyer Sean hired around the filing by Avi ultimately filed a complaint against Sean in May 2015, alleging Sean had an unpaid bill of around $15,000. My guess is
Damn,
Sean's
bro.
public status as a musician with popular songs on Spotify is how he was able to essentially scam all these people in his life. It seems like he never pays anyone.
Yeah, it's like they use it as credit, bro. People be using like clout as credit. They'll be like, "Oh, you're clouded. All right, bet." Oh,
The complaint alleges Sean bought a yellow Rolex but never paid in full for it. Later that year, Heimov Jewelers was able to win a judgment of $44,000 against Sean. If you saw him on TV with all that jewelry, you
that
probably
shit was fake.
wouldn't have guessed that he was stiffing everyone providing the watches and chains. In August 2016, Aquamaster Enterprise Inc., doing business as Aquamaster Watch, sued Sean and his entities, Janice Turner and Mama Kingston's Kitchen Inc. Generally, when this type of fraud occurs, the mom is interviewed at the courthouse steps, and she is so confused as to how her perfect little Shawnee Poo could have committed such crimes. But in this story, which is the first time I've seen something like this, she seems to have been involved. This plaintiff alleges that Sean and his mom
And that's sad. Like, ma'am, like, how down bad are you? Like, y'all already rich.
used their business entities to purposely obtain jewelry with the preconceived plan to not pay for the goods. Sean visited the plaintiff in New York and selected 9 high-end jewelry items he wanted to purchase. He told the jeweler, "Don't worry, my business manager will wire the money." A guy of his public status probably led the guy to
Facts. Carl says super down bad. Like, dead ass, bro. Like, what the fuck? Like, I can't stand ungrateful people. Like, it's some people who can't even eat, bro. Like,
believe him. Instead, Sean took possession of the jewelry and then switched up the plan and wrote checks. Those checks were deposited into the Aqua Masters bank accounts by Sean and his mom, so everything was good, right? The plaintiff thought the funds were wired, and Bank of America verified $301,500 was recently debited to the account. The jeweler, thinking the funds were wired, let go of the jewelry to Sean and his mom. But the next day, the bank notified him that the funds weren't in the account because the debited amount came from checks and not a wire transfer. The checks essentially bounced because of insufficient funds.
They let go of the jewelry because they think the money was cleared, just for it to not go. Nah, that's terrible, bro. That's terrible, bro. Sean Kingston, you like you are a bad guy. Really.
Right to jail, right away.
No part of the $302,500 purchase price had been paid except for $1,000. Here's a check from Sean's business account for $270,000 that didn't have the funds. And here's his mom's check for $31,500 that didn't have the funds either. The following summer, Sean ran into some legal trouble that wasn't jewelry related. Christopher Gregory Brito filed a claim in small claims court against Sean and his mom. I found a Christopher Brito Instagram account claiming to be a security guard. I put this address into Google Maps and did a route search to the address listed in the small claims case. They're only 9.3 miles away from each other.
Yeah, this Spencer be putting in that work, boy. I tell you.
So the odds of this guy being the same guy, I would say, are pretty high. If it is the same guy, then a security guard filing a small claim against Sean and his mom probably means they stiffed him on a paycheck. Not enough for a lawsuit with a lawyer, but enough where he wants to be recouped. In February 2023, Dreamwatch SBN BHD, a Malaysian company, sued Sean. They alleged that Sean contacted them on Instagram wanting some, can you guess it by now?
Jewelry.
That's right, some jewelry that he probably didn't want to pay for.
Oh my God, bro. Like, the rocks aren't that nice, guys. It's just the rock. Like, but people just make it there like, oh, like, I have to be dripped out in diamonds and silver. And, like, bro, it's okay. Like, one is fine. But even if I do get, like, to that point or whatever, I'm not finna have, like, 10 chains. Like, I'm gonna have, like, one or two, that's it.
Watches were Richard Mille and Patek Philippe. I probably mispronounced those names because I'm about as good at naming watches as Sean is at paying people back. This was his biggest scam yet. The watches were priced at $912,000. Sean had been training for nearly a decade to make a big heist on this poor Malaysian jeweler. The guy flies all the way to Sean's Encino, California house because he probably believes Sean is a legitimate baller. I mean, he has a song with Justin Bieber. Sean likes the watches.
Literally, that's it. That's what I was telling y'all. Like, the clout is like credit. It's crazy.
Agrees to the price of $912,000, takes possession of the watches, and totally told the truth about sending the money. I bet you all can guess how he said he'd send the money.
Wire transfer?
Of course, the $912,000 would be wired the following day. The money, of course, didn't arrive, and Sean had an excuse. It was the bank rejected the wire because of the large amount, and the money was being sent internationally. A couple days later, the next excuse was that the account had been frozen. He said his account was frozen for the next 3 months, and then Sean just stopped responding to the plaintiff entirely. A hilarious side
God, bro, what a terrible person.
note in this complaint is that 4 days after buying $912,000 worth of watches, the plaintiffs alleged that he asked for a $4,000 loan for something totally unrelated. Instead of thinking this was a major red flag, they just assumed Mr. Celebrity Musician would just add the $4,000 to the wire he'd send for the watches. Sean ultimately just ignored the
Okay, yeah, these guys are idiots. He hasn't sent you almost $1 million and you still sent him 4K more? Yeah.
plaintiff, which led to this complaint. How to scam your way to wearing $1 million worth of jewelry. Dreamwatch was able to receive a $916,000 judgment against Sean for the jewelry and small loan. Just when you think he couldn't get any dumber and scammier, we have the next complaint filed just 2 months later. This time it's Round Hill Music and Artist Rights Management LLC. Basically, Sean sold off 50% of his future royalties to this fund. Why would you do that? Well, you can take a big upfront payment in exchange for the royalties you may receive over time. In Sean's case, you would think he'd take the payment to pay off his debts, but of course that isn't what he did. They gave Sean $415,000 for 50% of his royalties.
415K? That's not really a lot for half of music royalties. Am I tripping? Or say, I thought that's not really a lot for real, but I don't know. What's up, Eliana? How you doing?
They file a UCC statement as seen here. I don't know the
Apparently, Sean Kingston just been running around scamming people.
exact process, but they essentially notify a clearinghouse that they hold the rights and the royalties should be distributed to them. They ultimately proposed an order for an $85,000 judgment against Sean, so what happened? Apparently business was running just fine until Sean decided to notify the clearinghouse years later that Round Hill Fund had no authority to receive his royalties, which led to this dispute. I want to point out that while he was scamming people, this is the house in Encino, California he was living in. Right after Fraud Boy started running into legal trouble, the house sold for $3.6 million. The final complaint came a year later by Ver Entertainment. This time it was regarding a 232-inch colossal television. We've uncovered that Sean lies
232-inch? Bro. Some people are just greedy as fuck, bro.
About how he'll pay, typically with fake checks and wire transfers, but he offered something other than money. Even though it was a decade later, Sean
Eliana said, I have a silly video to send me. It's 18 seconds. Send it to me or put it in the Discord. And then Carl said, it depends on YouTube. It's 15 per 1K. Title is 10. Yeah, but still, that's not Sean Kingston, who's been making music for how many decades? Like, bro, I don't know. I feel like that's worth way more than that. But you know, these companies are going to lowball you, so it makes sense.
claimed to still have a working relationship with an A-list musician. To induce plaintiff to accept a much lower down payment and credit towards the purchase price, Sean promised plaintiff that he would produce promotional videos of plaintiff's cooperation with Justin Bieber.
These guys are idiots, bro. There's no way that I'm going to give someone credit because he said he's going to give me a video with Justin Bieber. I would be like, where's Bieber? Is Justin Bieber here today? Like, you feel me? Like, I'm not finna, because you told me you can get a video from Justin Bieber. Like, don't get punched.
Has to be a new level of influencer going broke, where you're trying to convince a television sales company that you'll get a celebrity to film a commercial for their company. Sean wired $30,000 to the company in order for them to get started on producing the TV. At least Sean made some progress
Cross said it's way more in IDK why he took that amount. Probably because he knew he wasn't giving that shit up.
with actually sending a down payment, but it always seems like it's the following payment that mysteriously disappears, so let's see if he paid them in full. Defendant then began providing a litany of excuses as to why payment wasn't made. In a shocker to no one who's watched this far, Sean lied about having a check, lied about being able to pay, and never paid in full, which leads us to the recent news story. Here's his arrest report in June 2024. He was arrested.
Okay, yeah. So I think this is the one that just caused everything to just like go down type shit. Like, cause yeah, you know, people be saying you can't go to jail for not paying your credit or whatever, but it gets to a certain point, bro. This is after like 10 different lawsuits.
In Rancho Cucamonga, California, and sent back to Broward County, Florida. 10 different charges, all carrying a $10,000 bond.
We were there as the well-known artist Southwest Ranch's rental home was raided in May of 2024, and we watched as luxury cars, jewelry, and high-priced tech items were seized.
I found his 8,000 square foot Fort Lauderdale house on Zillow. The lot is nearly 2.5 acres, which is not big enough to avoid police seizure of personal property. The house is currently for sale now that the tenant is likely headed to jail soon. Almost $6 million can land you this beautiful property.
Christy and Louie, today we got a chance to hear from a car salesman, a luxury watch salesman who say they were both duped by Kingston and his mother when they were provided fake wire transfer receipts.
Yeah, and the mom part is what kills me the most. Like, how you get your mom to be a part of that shit, gang?
And never paid for their products. Wednesday, the government calling car salesman Andre Bush to testify, who claims to have met with Kingston at his Southwest Ranch's rental home to sell him a Cadillac Escalade. Bush testifying he was given a fake wire transfer receipt and never received the funds.
And he has a song with Youngboy? What? Since when?
But when he attempted to take the luxury SUV back to the dealership, he said Kingston...
I said the mom could be the mastermind. I don't think so, bro. I don't think the mom would be the master. Well, I mean, maybe. Shit, that's a good point. Maybe. But I don't know all the way, though.
Became aggravated and refused to release it, only after receiving a down payment of $20,000.
Oh, my God. Look at this. Eliana said, I don't know what's happening. It's fine. This video is almost over. It's just a rapper I used to listen to just out here scamming people and just taking everyone's money and not paying them back.
Was the vehicle left at the home.
It takes a clever scammer in order to get one over on a car salesman, but Sean clearly knew how to deceive others. Here's
another message.
Doing this once may...
Yeah, long story short, Sean Kingston, you're a bad guy.